Hey everybody, happy Saturday evening live tutorial stream. Hope everyone had a fantastic Saturday wherever you were today. We had a great day here at the Beading Dreams. We got to see so many awesome people. We got to see an in-person Susan Wilk. We got to see an in-person Amy. We still have Ace here visiting us from the frozen Northland. We actually had a nice day here in Dallas. Beautiful, sunny, lovely temperatures. I think it probably topped out at like 70 something. And we had Menyas as well. So we had an in-person What the Frank. It was a great day here at the Beading Dreams, and it's a great evening for me to be streaming with you guys. So our project for today, for this evening, is our simple leather bracelet. This is such an easy project, y'all. Yay! Hi, Lori. Yes, Ace has been so amazing with helping us with technical stuff, including auto-hosting of all of our favorite people. And yes, he also set up the closed cat. So basically, is anybody else on FB having sound issues? There's at least 2 of you there. So I'm not sure. But anyway. But anyway, so yeah, so Ace did the closed captioning and Ace did the auto hosting. So all of the new and cool things that are happening on the Beading Dream stream, all Ace. The only thing that I've done is been like, well, wait, how do we do this thing? And then he figures it out. It's like, how do we do, okay, but I want to do this thing. How do we do this other thing? And what about this other crazy wacko weirdo thing? And he just keeps solving the problems. So, oh Lord. Yes, now we have closed captioning on Twitch, which means that there's going to be fun closed captioning errors. So, you know, fun things. So, simple leather bracelet. This is such an easy project, but I do have to, I have to start the stream with a cautionary tale, because your main tool for this evening's project is this wicked looking thing. This is called a Glover's needle. And this is a needle that is designed for sewing leather, and you can see that not only is it pointy and stabby, but it's also got, like, you know, blades on the side. So this is basically a needle that is designed for piercing leather so that you can sew through it. Well, leather is, of course, you know, tanned flesh. The needles are also really good at piercing through untanned flesh. Because I was using one earlier today and jabbed it right through my finger, and Carol May, poor Carol May, asked me a question right after I did it, and blood's like dripping down my finger, and I'm like, can I have a paper towel and then I will answer your question? So beware of the Glover's needles because they are nasty, okay? Keep caution with your fingies and whatnot, because they do give you a nasty puncture. It's true. But so let's talk tools and supplies for this evening's tutorial. It's, like I said, super simple. This is another one of those, like, if you have the supplies on hand, like, oh crap, thanks Heather.
It's not like they can't see.
It's true. They can see how pale I am. Heather is not wrong.
You don't blow in the dark.
Oh, well, that's actually a funny story.
Oops.
From high school, when I think actually, I might have even been paler than I am now when I was in high school, because I think I've acquired more freckles over the years. But yeah, so I was...
do darken a person.
So I was a concert dancer, and so I went to the arts high school in Milwaukee. I was in the dance department, and so and this was in probably, I think this is my junior year, so this was like 1996. So we're still talking, like, you know, VHS camcorders as far as you know documentation of performances. And there was one piece where I was sitting on another girl's back and there was this slow like rotation where we like, you know, put our arms up and then we put our arms down, and there were like, hi Tally Fet, and each of us had a spot on it, and I literally ruined the video of that performance because when the follow spot hit me, I completely just like blew out all of the exposure on the camera because I was literally glowing. So yes, I have actually, it was, so I guess I don't glow in the dark, I glow in the light, is what that's all about. But anyway, I was talking about tools and supplies for this evening's tutorial before I started talking about my distant, misty past of, of glowing in the light. So, if you have the supplies for this, this is a super easy project and really fun for gifts and whatnots. So, it's worth, these actually I love, and these little leather strips, unfortunately come from a supplier that I don't really love their attitude, but they are a really, really useful thing. So these are just 1/2 inch wide, 8, are you 8 inches long? How long are you? No, 10 inches long. So 10 inches long, 1/2 inch wide leather strips of this beautiful butter soft leather that's got top grain on one side, suede on the other side, and then is dyed in all these beautiful colors, including metallics. So the supplier for these is Tiara Cast, but I'm sure you can find them on Etsy because Tiara Cast won't sell to you unless you're actually a bead store, and even if they do, they're gonna be snotty about it. But they are a really useful thing. There are lots of stuff that you can do with these little strips. So I need one strip of leather, 1/2 inch wide by 10 inches long. I need some waxed linen cord. This is 3-ply waxed linen, and I'm just using the dark brown color because it's going to go decently with my kind of coppery metallic leather strip. I'm going to need one bead that's going to go in the center of my bracelet, and here is the limiting factor on what bead you can use is your glover's needle needs to go through, needs to be able to pass completely through your bead. Okay, if your glover's needle cannot pass completely through your bead, you cannot use it for this project, okay? Yeah, there were never dreams of that, Heather. They're no, I don't like them. They're poopy heads. Unfortunately, they are poopy heads that have amazing product, but they're still poopy heads. So, leather, wax linen, one bead, and then for the closure, you're going to need a button. Okay, so I have a little brass button. Here, as far as tools go, you are going to need your glover's needle. Again, beware of the fingies with the nasty pointy needle. You're going to need an X-Acto knife, preferably with a fairly sharp blade on it. Mine is a new blade from last night. You can tell that because it's covered in copper foil. So, craft knife with a sharp blade and some kind of cutting device. I have the metal shears handy, so that's what I'm going to use. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the center of my leather, and the easiest way to do that is to fold it in half. Alright, so there's my center, and I'm just going to kind of mark the center with my fingernail and set my bead on my leather so that it is, you know, it's centered on where the center of my leather is. And I'm just going to set that on my workstation, and I'm going to try really, really hard not to bump it. Y'all know how clumsy I am, so this may or may not work out well for me. Meanwhile, I'm going to take my wax linen cord, and I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to use about half of it to sew down the bead, and then the other half to sew down the button. And how in the world in like 10 minutes I managed to get mine in a complete tangle, I will never know, but it's one of my personal talents. I think it's a God-given gift, the fact that I can make anything into a disastrous mess in minimal time. Okay, so I'm just going to cut that in half. And then I'm going to take one of my pieces of wax linen. I'm going to fold it in half. Okay, so I have now halved my halved linen. And I'm going to take that halved piece and I'm going to thread it through the eye, both ends, through the eye of my Glover's needle. So the Glover's needle has a pretty decent sized eye, so you should be able to get both pieces through there. Oh, she says while failing utterly. So disappointing. Much disappoint. I got 2 of the 3 plies through, which is never a good situation, because then what happens is you get this where you're just like, you know, crunching that 1 ply up. So we're just gonna cut that and try it again. Well, I don't think I did scare it though, because it's not cooperating. If I scared it with the blood, it would be working better. There we go. That's what we want. Okay, so we want a nice smooth thread through there. Alright, so I've got my bead that I've got laid out on my leather here, and so I'm just going to take my needle and I'm going to mark where one side of my bead is going to go, which is there, and then I'm going to take that needle from the back up through the front. So notice, this is what a Glover's needle does, okay? It pierces flesh. Just saying. Pull it all the way through. If you have trouble pulling this through, you can always grab a pliers to help you pull that through. And what you want to do is you want to pull it through most of the way, but not all the way, okay? So you still want a loop of your linen on the back of your bracelet. Now you're going to take your bead. Once again, your Glover's needle has to be able to pass all the way through that. Oh dear. Heather, do you have a chain nose pliers by any chance?
I have 2.
Can I have one?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
But you have to give it back later.
I'll try.
Okay.
So, of course, my Glover's needle was a pretty tight fit through my bead, and now it's got linen on it. Nope.
Not doing it?
Fail. I broke my bead.
Oh no!
So, pardon me while I go get another bead. Y'all and Ziggy hang out for a sec. We're back with a bead that hopefully will work better for what I was just trying to do than the one that I busted. So, let's try this again. No! Be right back. What? I'm back with an entire basket of beads, so I can basically just keep trying them until I find one that works. When you're doing a bracelet like this, you want a bead that's flatter. That's going to work better for the project than something that's really like high and round, which is what makes it a little bit more difficult. Okay, so we're going to try this black onyx bead. Haha, success. It went through. So once again, so as far as when you're choosing the bead for your bracelet, you need to not only make sure that your Glover's needle goes through your bead, but that it has a little bit of extra space, because when you put 4 pieces of wax linen cord onto your Glover's needle, it's going to take up extra space. So, you know, lessons learned on the Beading Dream stream. But I finally managed to get a bead that works, hooray, And so what I have is I have taken my double piece of wax linen up through my bracelet. I've left a loop on the back. I've finally managed to find a bead that works. So I'm gonna slide that down to my bracelet, and I'm just gonna lay it against my bracelet like so. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my glover's needle down, I don't know why that is so dim, down through my leather right at the second edge of my bead. Do not stab it into your finger at this point, okay? Did not spend the whole beginning of this stream talking about the dangers of the glover's needles to have y'all stab yourselves at this point. Pull it through. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your needle through that loop, and that is going to, in theory, secure everything down. Like so. So I've got my cord looped through on the back, and I've got my bead flat on the front. Now I had to do a little bit of finagling because what wanted to happen when I tightened that was my leather kind of wanted to scrunch up because it's so soft. But you can, I promise, you are the boss of the leather and the bead. You can make it work. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to tie off my leather, not my leather, my linen, the other thing that starts with an L, just around one of these two cords. So I'm just going to tie it off with a half hitch, which means I'm going to go underneath one of these lines of linen, and then I'm going to put my needle through the loop that I have created, and I'm just going to pull, and I'm going to do that at least twice or 3 times. So again, under all of the layers of linen. So at this point now I've actually got 4 here, and through. Ooh, this would be really cool with Turritella, Pam, absolutely. And I'm going to do one more for good measure, a third one under and through. You want to make sure that this is all as flat as possible because you don't want it to be irritating on the inside of your wrist. So just make sure you kind of give it a nice smash. And then if you have hypo cement handy, which I do not, but that's okay, I'll glue it later. But just go ahead and put some hypo cement on that knot, and then you can take your cutting device and you can cut that knot off nice and close. So that's what we have on the underside of our bracelet. And when you put it on your wrist, ideally, you know, it shouldn't feel stabby or pokey or anything like that. Now we're going to go ahead and do our closure, which means we're going to need our other piece of linen, and we're going to go ahead and just preemptively thread that into our glover's needle. Hopefully with a little more luck than the last time I tried to do this. So just go through like that. There we go. Set that aside. And now I'm going to go ahead and do a 7-inch bracelet. Now, the way that this works is there's an overlap, okay, on the closure, which means that whatever your length is, you need to add to it for the overlap, because you have basically, you know, 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of bracelet that's overlapped on each other, which means that even though in your linear length you've got that length twice, when you put it on your wrist you've only got it once. So I'm gonna go with you could, Pam, use I wouldn't use a leather punch because that's probably gonna make a hole that's too big, but yes, you absolutely could use an awl if you wanted to make a hole with the awl first and then push the needle through. The glover's needles are essentially like an awl and a needle in one, and despite the possibility for you know, exsanguination whilst using a glover's needle, I still find them more efficient. But yeah, if you don't have a glover's needle, you can poke a hole with an awl and then put a regular needle through it. Okay, so I'm going for a 7-inch bracelet. That means I need my actual length of my leather to be 7.5, and I do want that stone to be on center. So 1/2 of 7.5 is what, 3 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead and take my ruler, and I'm just going to set my stone on 3 3/4, and then I'm going to go to 7 1/2 on one side, and just trim that off. And then 0 on the other side. And if you did a good job of putting your bead in the center at this point, these two pieces that you trimmed off should be fairly similar in size. Now I'm going to stitch my button onto the end of my leather. It really doesn't matter which side of your leather you put your button on. So I'm just going to pick this side, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did before. Okay, I'm going to take my button, and I'm going to position that, and I'm just going to mark where I want that one hole, and then from back to front I'm going to go up through my leather with my glover's needle. This is my little trick with the glover's needle, is to put it down on the table and push it through. And then again, if you need to use a chain nose pliers to pull it through, you absolutely can, like so. And then once again, leave a loop on the back of your project. Go up through one hole of your button. Okay, come on, you have to fit through the button. Thank you. Like, no, this cannot happen to me again on this stream. So up through one hole of your button, and then down through the other hole of your button, and then also down through your leather. Again, do not jab yourself in the finger at this point. Pull it through, and then go through that loop that you left at the beginning. And since the button is the closure and it's going to be taking a little bit more stress than your bead, we're going to go ahead and follow that path another time or two. So you're just going to go again up through your leather, through the hole in your button, and then down through the hole in your button, down through the leather. Now, anybody who has learned how to properly sew a 2-hole button knows about the process of shanking, which is different than shanking in prison. This is creating a shank for your button, meaning creating just a little bit of space between your button and your leather to make it easier to fasten your closure. So what you're going to do is you're just going to take your linen, and you're going to go up through your leather and then wrap around the base of your button 2 or 3 times, and then go down one last time through your leather. So this wax linen is very sturdy, so you know, my 2 strands going through my button twice plus the shanking is more than enough to hold this nice and securely. And then I'm going to tie it off around these cords just like I did with my beads. I'm going to go underneath my cords like so, and then through my loop that I just created, and one more time. I could do 2 more times, but I'm kind of running out of space, so I'm going to go with 1 more time. So under and through, and then once again hypo cement on this knot, and then you can trim it off. And then we're going to have our overlap right here. So first thing I like to do is I do like to just kind of cut my end at an angle because I think it's saucy. And then we're just going to take our craft knife, and you want to be really careful here, because if you're not careful, what's going to happen is you're just going to slice all the way through this leather. That's not going to be helpful in any way. That's actually going to mean you're just going to need to start over with a new piece of leather. So what I want to do is I want to take my craft knife and I want to make a slit in my leather from here to here. Okay, so I'm not going all the way through my leather, but I'm essentially making a buttonhole. But you do, of course, need to go all the way through your leather, so that's why this is one of those Goldilocks moments where you, and usually I'll, you know, just kind of go through a couple of times so there we go. So that's our buttonhole. I don't know if that's big enough, but let's see. I want it to be big enough to go over your button. Now this is pretty soft leather, so it will, hey look, I did it. It is big enough. It will stretch out over time, so you don't want to cut your buttonhole overly large, because eventually then you're going to wind up with a bracelet that's unwearable because your buttonhole won't hold your button. And that, seriously, on this Saturday evening tutorial, that's it. That is all you need to do to make this awesome, simple leather bracelet with a bead of your choice, a strip of tiara cast leather, and a button tiara cast. Also, again, poopy heads with awesome product. They do have really cool buttons. I'm not gonna lie. I cannot tell a lie about that. But anyway, so thank you all so much for hanging out on the... Hi, BioMuse Music. Welcome to the Beading Dream stream. How are you doing? How's your night going? We just finished this leather bracelet tutorial. So with my onyx bead, there we go. So thank you all so much for hanging out with us on the Saturday evening Beading Dreams live tutorial stream. Of course, everybody out there who knows me knows, but those of you who are new like BioMuse don't know, hey, I'm Allison from Beading Dreams in Dallas, Texas. I'm doing very well today. Thank you for asking. We got to see some of our favorite people here at Beading Dreams on Lovers Days today. Oh my god, it's a rate. Hold on. Well, hi, Raiders. You're the best. Thank you. Yay. Yeah, so unfortunately you caught the very end of the stream. It's almost time for us to get off in order to get back on. So just a little bit about us. We are Beading Dreams from Dallas, Texas. We're an actual brick and mortar retail bead store, okay? So we teach you how to make jewelry, and we also sell beads, and that's what we're going to be doing back on this channel in just about half an hour. So you can find us on this channel, twitch.tv/Beading Dream, 5 times a week with complimentary tutorials. We stream Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday evenings at 6 p.m. Central Time, plus Thursdays at noon with a free tutorial. Thanks, Beverly. And we try and do a different one every day, so hopefully y'all won't get bored. But we also do live merchandise sales every Wednesday and every Saturday at 7:30 p.m. So that means that in just about 30 or 40 minutes, thanks, Susan. We got to see Susan in person today. It was super exciting. Yay. In just about 30 or 40 minutes, we will be doing a live merchandise sale here on the Beading Dreams stream, including new merchandise, things that y'all haven't seen before. So hopefully we'll see, maybe some of you Raiders will pop back in about half an hour to see us selling beads. If not, hopefully we'll see you on a tutorial at some point in the future. Again, that's going to be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 6 p.m. Central Time, plus Thursdays at noon. We are here for you with a new fun project. So Raiders, thank you so much for stopping by. Everyone, thank you so much for stopping by. I can't tell you how much we appreciate each and every one of you, all of your small business people. That's your streamers, your crafters, your Etsy sellers, your brick and mortars. We all still need your support more than ever, so I can't tell you how much I appreciate each and every one of you. So we'll be back on this channel, twitch.tv/Beading Dream, in just half an hour. Okay, it's probably going to be 40 minutes with a live merchandise sale, and it's our sip shopping and shenanigans sale, which means that we will be drinking and we will be silly. So if you want some laughs, please stop by in about 30-40 minutes for shenanigans. Otherwise, hopefully we'll see y'all on the Beading Dreams stream sometime soon. All right, thanks everyone so much. See you in a bit. Bye.